Graph the function y equals -2 sine of 2x. So given this one, we have the amplitude as -2. We have b, so this is our b, which is related to our period by the formula 2 pi over b. Because remember that we have y is equal to a, a sine of bx minus c as our general formula. So a plus d. Okay, where a is our amplitude right here. B is our is related to our period using the formula 2 pi over b. B is equal to 2 pi over b. And C is our horizontal shift. Horizontal shift. And D is our vertical shift. Vertical shift. So that means vertical shift means where we start with our y value, and horizontal shift is where our x value will start. So for example, here, -2 sine of 2x, we would start with, okay, identifying a, that is -2. Our period is, excuse me, we have 2 pi over b. So period is just equal to 2 pi. Our b is 2, right? So 2 pi over 2. And we'd be left with pi because this will cancel out. So a is equal to -2, b is equal to pi, and c is equal to 0. Notice that we don't have a minus c in the given. So automatically, that means it's 0. And it's the same with d. It's just equal to 0 because we don't see anything added to the sine function, right? So that's it. We have this given values. We can now graph our function. So graphing our function right here, let's have, okay, notice that our values, our period is in terms of pi. So it would be best if our x coordinate would be a multiple of pi. So here, our x coordinate, let's have this as, this is our pi over 2, and this is our pi. And then this is our 3 pi over 2. This is our 2 pi. Okay, so we have this so far, -pi over 2. And we've labeled already our x coordinates in terms of the multiple of pi. And now we label the y coordinate, which is, it should be, look at the amplitude, it's in terms of ones, or it's 2. So it's not in terms of pi. So we can just choose to put in the units 1. Okay, let's have 1 right here and 2 right here. So 1 right here and 2 right here. -1, -2. Okay, so that is our y-axis for this graph. And so plotting the points. So first thing that we need to plot, it's always the horizontal shift because it indicates where we will start. The horizontal shift and the vertical shift. The horizontal shift is just 0. So meaning we start here at 0. And then our vertical shift is also 0. So we're just going to stay here. We're not going to go here at 1 or here at -1. We're just going to stay at this point where y is 0 and x is 0. So starting here, we know that our sine function either goes up or goes down. So that will be indicated by our amplitude. The sign of our amplitude, which is here in the given, it's negative. So that means to say we're going down. But then we don't know yet where our function will end. So we need to identify it using the period. Our period indicates a full cycle. So here, the full cycle is just pi. So we have here pi. So this is where our one cycle of this graph ends. So meaning we're just gonna identify the midpoint of the initial and the final points of this one cycle. So it's right here. And the midpoint of pi over 2 and 0 is just here at is here, somewhere here. So it should be at -2 because we know at the lowest point should have an amplitude of 2, right? The distance from the midline to the lowest point is just 2. So connecting this one, we'd have this going up. And then identify the midpoint between pi over 2 and pi. So it's just somewhere right here. And it should be aligned with y equals 2. Because we know that again, the midline to the highest point is 2. So connecting these points, we'd have this graph. So this is now the graph of y is equal to -2 sine of 2x.